Way, Dublin have won a game. Happy days, happy days. Who would have known it would have taken so long for Dublin to record their first win of 2022? But it's happened. It's happened. Dublin have beaten Tyrone by a scoreline of 13 points to 8 points at Healy Park. The fight for survival continues. Tyrone very much dragged into that relegation battle. And actually, looking at their fixtures in the last two games, I think they're in big, big trouble, no doubt about it. But of course, as always, this is the instant match reaction here on GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron Prendergast, and if you could smash that like button, if you're new to the channel, subscribe as well. Smash the like button, regardless if you're new to the channel, even if you regularly come to the channel. That'd be absolutely brilliant. Dublin secured a victory. They secured a points. Huge, huge win in the end for the Dubs. Tyrone are in big trouble. But yeah, here we go. Dublin with the victory by 5 points. Yes, welcome back to GAA Fan TV. Dublin 5-point winners over Tyrone. They record their first win of the Alliance National Football League in 2022. A long time coming, certainly for most Dublin fans. I don't think we would have expected it to be as long as a wait for a win in 2022. You know, match day 5 in the Alliance National Football League, coming into this game with the potential of losing with Dublin, with the potential of losing their 6th competitive game in a row for the first time in their history. But they wrote that wrong. Look, absolutely brilliant in the first half, as good as I've seen Dublin really probably since 2020, in all honesty. In that first half performance, it was brilliant. So many different scores, like 8 scores in that first half, all of which from play as well. 10 unanswered points after Cathal McShane's early free. Brilliant around the middle as well at winning ball. Like Brian Fenton was brilliant. Tom Lahiff, I thought, done a great job as well. All our forwards were really, really contributing, and getting Cormac Costello back into the team, I think, was massively, massively important, because, you know, we know how good of a footballer he is. We know how talented he is. You know how brilliant he can be on the ball, and in terms of shooting and in terms of getting those points. But I think as well as that, it was just his contribution as well, and having a player like him on the pitch, which, you know, obviously the Tyrone defenders would have to man mark, and that kind of alleviates space then for the likes of Sean Bugler and Kieran Kilkenny. And, you know, Niall Scully was brilliant as well. You know, he was picking up the ball in those pockets of spaces. It was more of a Niall Scully-esque performance, the type we like to see from Niall Scully. Kicked a brilliant point as well. And yeah, 10 unanswered points at the end of the first, well, not at the end of the first half, but for the entirety of the first half. You know, and Tyrone massively struggled. They really did. They struggled to find their flow in the game. And Dublin were just absolutely brilliant, in my opinion. They really were. Look, it wasn't perfect. You know, second half got a little bit sluggish, got a little bit lazy. Even when Tyrone went down to 14 men, you know, you felt like, right, this is our chance to really kind of put the nail in the coffin and really finish this Tyrone team off, and really sort of, you know, put our stake down, get the victory, get the win. But it didn't quite work out that way in the end. You know, Tyrone started to get back into the game. They started to have a little bit more control. You know, and ended up hitting a couple of points here or there. But relatively speaking, it was always very comfortable, I felt, from a Dublin perspective. Even when Tyrone did start to turn the tide a little bit, Dublin were always cruising. On Far says now that was a bit more like it. Tyrone, their own worst enemy today. Niggly, cynical stuff off the ball, silly stuff onwards and upwards. Now Dublin, yeah, like I don't know what Padraig Hampsey was really doing there when he was giving Costello the shoulder off the pitch. You know, you could look at it as maybe he was a little bit soft, but, you know, he was already on a black card at that point, and it's an off the field incident as well. for anyone who's played football before, when you have them studs and you're walking on concrete, it can be the slightest of hits and you could go down. So I think it was the right decision in the end from the referee. But funny enough, Tyrone actually played better when they went down to 14 men. It was kind of weird. I felt like they started to improve a bit more. With Richie Donnelly, who came off the bench, thought he made a big impact in the game. And he's kicked 2 brilliant points towards the end of the match. But Tyrone were just really, really sloppy. Like, they didn't kick a point from play until the 50th minute, which tells you how poor they were. And Dublin really just in the first half showed that urgency, showed that commitment, desire that we hadn't seen in the first 4 games. And they looked like they did chip on their shoulder a bit. Looked like they wanted to prove people wrong. They looked really, really fired up for it. And, they just looked up for it. They were winning every ball, chasing every ball. Hunger was there. Being direct with the ball as well. Not just keeping the ball for the sake of it, like looking for options in front of them. And it was very, very good. Second half, it did slow down, and Dublin did try control the game a lot more. I think they were wary of kind of giving Tyrone possession, and they probably used their game management experience to see that through. Maybe that killer instinct isn't quite there. A few chances for goal opportunities. Maybe we could have finished Tyrone off and beaten them a lot more comfortably. But at the same time, the most important thing here was the win. The win was the most important thing. Dublin were very much all but relegated if they lost this. Because of the fact that, Tyrone would have been on 5 points, Monaghan on 4. Just would have been very, very difficult to catch either Monaghan or Kildare. But this result definitely drags Tyrone back into it. I mean, they play Kerry and Mayo in their final 2 games, which is going to be extremely tough. And you're looking at it, and I don't know if Tyrone win any of them games. I really don't. I think the fact they play Mayo next week is even tougher. Like, I think Mayo away, or Mayo at home, actually. But I think Mayo are going to be fired up for that game, having lost the All-Ireland final last year. They'll want to get revenge on Tyrone, no doubt about it. And they'll obviously want to put themselves back in contention for a league final. Maybe playing Kerry on the final day. Maybe Kerry will rest players if they're already in a league final. But even at that, it's going to be very, very tough. And the worst part for Tyrone is Kildare play Monaghan, Dublin play Donegal, and Dublin play Monaghan. So, all those teams around Tyrone are going to pick up points off each other. So that makes it very, very difficult. I mean, you're probably looking at it and thinking, I think 6 points will be enough to avoid relegation. I still don't think Donegal are completely out of it either. If they lose to Dublin next week, they're definitely dragged back into it. But, I think 6 points will be enough. So I think Dublin need to win their 2 final games. Tyrone probably needs something there as well. They need to pick up a win from either Kerry or Mayo, and that's going to be very, very difficult. Also, kudos to the Dublin supporters today. Big away crowd for a cold March afternoon in Omagh. Fair play. When the chips were down, they were there for the team. Absolutely, yeah. And they had their own stand there behind the goal in the first half, which I think maybe might have helped a little bit as well. Maybe just giving a little bit more confidence to the team. And that was obviously where Dublin played their best football, was in front of that sort of their own version of Hill 16, you could say, up in Omagh. Man of the match from a Dublin point of view is a very hard one because there was a lot of very good players. I thought Kilkenny was brilliant, though, with 2 points. And we'll throw the scores up on the screen there, actually. But Kilkenny, I thought, was really, really good. I thought it was very, very impressive indeed. Like 2 points in total on the day. But it was that contribution to the other team, picking out passes here and there. Dean Rock was good, obviously, with 3 points. Dublin didn't score any points at all in this game from place balls, which is kind of extraordinary enough, really. Like, Tyrone didn't give away many fouls at all in that kind of final third, which was a little bit surprising, to say the least. Cormac Costello with 2 points. Noel Scully with a point. Sean Bugler was excellent as well. He's probably been Dublin's best player so far this year, in my opinion. And then midfield as well, good to see Fenton and Lahif getting on the score sheet, Robbie McDade getting forward as well. I think Dublin have been very over-reliant on that full forward line to get them scores. But now when you have midfielders chipping away and Robbie McDade coming in there as well, that was very, very good. And I think a positive as well is, you get James McCarthy coming off the bench. You get Owen Merchant coming off the bench as well. Lee Gannon coming off the bench, Ryan Basquel. So, there's options there. There's options there, no doubt about it. From a Tyrone point of view, very, very disappointing, as I said. Didn't score from play until the 50th minute. They just struggled. They really, really did. And I think Tyrone's best player was Richie Donnelly, who came off the bench. He had 2 points from play, and he looked like one of the only sort of Tyrone forwards who looked lively. Colin McShane was, he was on the ball and he was trying to make things happen, but it was difficult for him. Darren McCurry was very, very quiet, I felt. And I think you have to give a lot of credit to the Dublin defence as well. Young Keane Murphy coming in there, thought he had an excellent game. Mick Fitzsimons, thought Davy Byrne was brilliant as well. Another contender maybe for man of the match, in my opinion. So, for Dublin's defence that has come under criticism in recent weeks, I thought that was a lot better. And maybe Keane Murphy coming in there might just be a potential player for the future for Dublin to play in that cornerback position. But we'll wait and see. Look, it's definitely not over. A defeat to Donegal next week from a Dublin point of view, and they're down, they're relegated, in my opinion. They need to win every game. They need to win all their 3 games to survive. Otherwise, you're looking at other results and hoping for the best. Kildare and Monaghan play each other next week. Someone's going to collect points there. Monaghan won earlier today as well. So, that puts them in a big position to survive. Still have to go to away to Monaghan as well, which, we actually don't have a brilliant record against. So, in recent years, at least in the league. So, there's still a lot to play for. But from a Tyrone perspective, I think you'd be worried. You really, really would. You know what I mean? Like, I think Division 2 is really, really likely. You look at Dublin's fixtures, you look at Tyrone's fixtures. Tyrone's fixtures are a lot tougher. And back-to-back defeats now as well. Lowest scores in Division 1. It's just not clicking at all. There's rumors, there's problems in the camp, and I mean, you get that a lot of the time. You don't know if it's true or not, but Lee Brennan not there anymore. Tiernan McCann opting out. I don't know what's going on there. Worrying times maybe for Tyrone. And they do look quite far off the standards that they set last year. I know they were poor in the league last year. It got hammered by Kerry and then came back and went on to win the All-Ireland. But it's a long, long way to go. It's a long, long way to go from here. And, they need to go as strong as they can for the next 2 games to want to avoid relegation. And then you go into a very competitive Ulster Championship as well. But the positive is Richie Donnelly looked like a good player, coming off the bench there. So at least that was impressive from a Tyrone point of view. Just taking a look there as well. Like, obviously you don't have Matty Donnelly as well, who probably still has to come back into the team at some point. Conor McKenna maybe should have started, in my opinion, I felt. Derek Hanavan looked lively as well. But look, it goes into those final 2 games. At least from a Tyrone perspective, you probably need to win just one of your 2 games, whereas I think Dublin need to win both to survive. I think if they do that, they will survive, but we will wait and see what happens. Cheers anyone who tuned in, left any comments. If you could leave a like, be much appreciated. If you could subscribe if you're new to the channel, be absolutely brilliant. The football review show will be out tomorrow, looking at all the weekend's action from Monaghan's big win earlier today over Donegal, the Division 1 games. Meath with a big win over Cork as well. Gives them a huge chance of surviving now in Division 2. Wins for Galway. Derry Roscommon think they drew as well. And a lot of big results in Division 3 and 4. Some surprise results in there as well. So we'll definitely be discussing that tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. My name's Aaron, and I'll see you all in the next